Hey, welcome back. My name is Janville, and today I want to talk about financial literacy. I want to talk about one of our courses on IM is called Financial Freedom. Wealth begins in the mind, one habit at a time. And this is dear to my heart because I would say out of all the areas that we have, family, finances, fitness, fashion, food, fun, this pillar is the hardest for me. It is the one that I had absolutely no education on, nothing healthy around it, and no conversations ever. It was a experience, like from trial and error, try and error, do, spin, broke, finally into a space of, okay, this is my truth and this is how I'm going to live because I truly want to build wealth for my family. And understand it's a process. So I want to share the three things that I believe on my journey. So, I've had young ladies come to me and talk about investing in stocks and even real estate and things like that. And my goal is to appoint and be the place and space to, okay, I don't know, but I can help you. I have a community. I have a network. I believe that's what community is about. I am not a financial guru. I'm none of that. But I'll say this. I believe wealth is a mindset. And I had a lot of experience and exposure to what it looked like, but no education on how to use it. And the first thing I would say is, number one, establish your definition of money. What do you think about money? I want to share a little about my background in a moment, but for me, I had to get to a space of say, okay, what does money mean to you? Because you're using it, you're spending it, you have it, and I didn't have it in abundance at all. I was a school teacher for most of my career, and when I actually had the most money in my life in my account, it was in the last 3 years or 4 years of my life. So when I look at the journey, it really is a principle around mindset, habit, and this is an area that I read a lot of books in because I just did not have the exposure, the experience to practices around wealth. I did not have it. And so the first thing I would say is money for me, my definition of money is the tool to get what I want. I believe we should have what we want in life. I'm not going to get into what you want, what you don't want. I believe in alignment. What you want, you will have. If your goal is to have, a wardrobe, the brand new cars, the houses, the big shiny things, you will have that. And that is going to be your goal. That's fine. No judgment. That's not my goal. Never has been. I've always driven old cars. I bought my last 2 cars cash, but this was an experience that I've had to learn and go into a space of what do I truly want long term, as we talk a lot about the discipline around it. So I want to start with my background just to give you a little piece of it. My background is interesting. I have interesting dynamics around exposure to money because my grandparents were wealthy. My paternal grandparents, my grandfather was a black entrepreneur, black brick mason, had his own business, own company. I used to be in his truck with him. My grandparents, I talk a lot about the ones who passed away due to obesity. These were my grandparents. They were wealthy and they had a brick home, 3-car, they just had it. They had a lifestyle. There was the family home where everybody would come down from up north, come to the south. My grandma would cook, smorgasbord. Everybody would come there and we'd have family games. They had the picket fence and they lived in like the black upper middle class neighborhood in where I'm from. And so I experienced all of this. My grandmother would pick me up from school in Mercedes-Benz. Like she got the new Benz. And this is my grandma driving. A lot of people's grandmother didn't even have cars, or like my maternal grandmother, she didn't have a car. She didn't have a driver's license. So it was not a big deal to me because it's all I knew. So I just saw like, oh, this is lifestyle. And so my grandpa, I'd be in the car with him. He'd be paying. I see him do payroll. I see my grandmother do paperwork. We go pick up people, and what he'd do is pick up people from neighborhoods, and they were all black. He'd hire people from our communities, and just he ran a business until he died, and then he passed it on to my dad. There's 3. My dad, and he has a brother. He left it to my uncle, and that was another story. The conversation around our family wealth and heritage. Unfortunately, inheritance. I'll say that, but the truth is, I had no education. I have no wealth in my family. I have no education around money. Was not taught anything around it. But that exposure, I would say, to wealth, the upper middle class, doctors, lawyers, teachers, You know, my mom worked in government, so she worked literally in there, like I'm talking with the mayor, the city manager. And so again, while people may say, well, what does that mean? It means wealth is beyond money. It's money, it's network. And communities have figured that out a long time ago. It's the network, it's the spaces that you're in to have access to resources and the tools, and it's the truth. And it's the education, the systems we can put our kids in. The systems we can put our kids in are the system that our kids just have to be in because we don't have access to the resources. So there's so many layers to this, but I want to speak to my journey and to where I am in this space and this platform, which is basic, because that's where I started. I truly believe if we get into a mindset, then wealth is a byproduct of the journey of wellness. So number one, I would say live below your means, all right? Live below your means. I think, again, I share my journey, and I put an exclamation because this to me is essential. Like, again, if you're not born into a family that has wealth, as my mentor said, you may not have been born into a family that has wealth, but wealth can come from you. If you weren't born into a family of wealth, wealth can come from you. And if you want and if you desire, I do too, wealth to come from us, from me to you in this journey, we have to live below our means. And we're just going to go to simple. Housing, transportation, and food. Again, I talk a lot about this, y'all. It's not easy, but it's simple. We want to make this thing complicated. When it comes to money, first of all, what is money? I believe it's a tool to get what I want. I believe we were born, our birthright is not to struggle, not to have to fend for things. Yes, there's times we struggle. I've had the struggle played. I've done it. Might have to do it again, but it won't be from a place of because I didn't use my money to the best of my ability of what I know. No, and I believe that's the habit. So live below your means. I mean, we can just, I'm not here. Money is one of those things most people don't want to talk about. I don't really talk about it a lot. I really am big on mindset. I do speak to young ladies. I've had conversations on what are we saving, what are we spending, and we'll get to that in a moment. But house, do you need the biggest house on the block for who? I believe it's all about impressing people. I don't even want to say the truth of what I really feel because sometimes it can be offensive. But in our community, we have to speak the truth in love. And if whatever, dress to impress, if you can afford it. Buy the house if you can afford it. Transportation, buy the car if you can afford it. But why are we buying? I think the why is so important. Is to impress people. Do you have more month at the end of your money, as I've heard John Hope Bryant talk a lot about. So, and if you haven't read, there's books, but I want to put these 2 books, 3. The Memo, let's go with The Memo. That's, I think, my children are reading that. It's by John Hope Bryant. It's called The Memo. It is a great book. Simple principles around mindset and money. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. That's a good one. But I would say that's a little more, start with The Memo. It's a good one. Okay. And then The Wealth Choice. That's like one of our books, our Bibles, around money here on IM. It really helps with the mindset around that's, again, The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. Just being inspired and empowered to understand this is not about entertainment. You don't have to be an athlete. You can use your brilliant brain to grow wealth. You can use your faith, your creativity, your innovation to grow wealth. Because again, if we're honest, wealth just simply means doing what we want, how we want to do it, with who we want to do it with. And it could be billions for you. It could be just $100,000 a year. It's about mindset. It's about living below our means. It's about truly saying, this is the lifestyle I want and how can I get there, okay? So house, transportation, food. Again, live below your means. And I talk to young ladies because I'm like, listen, if you're the type of lady that needs a man with all of these things, that's a mindset. This is a part of your abundance cycle. This is a part of your family tree, your legacy. Remember, if you get with somebody for money, if that's what you're getting for, remember sustainability. When the money runs out, what do you have left? Love doesn't sustain anything. So understand your mindset when you're choosing everything, your career. Understand your mindset when you're choosing a man. If it's around money, we're talking money today. And the reason why I say that, because I believe as women, we have to understand the importance of our own financial literacy, our own financial education. I share, my husband was a major part of my journey on financial literacy and education. The truth is, yes, I was a spender on clothes. That's just it. I love clothes. I do. That's my vice. And I'm at a point, like, I want to buy the clothes and shoes, and I've earned it. So how can I get what I want? If you love crab legs every week, I've had this conversation with a young lady. She loves food is her vice. Food is her vice. But I'm not going to put clothes in here because these are the 3 most expensive areas that we spend. So that's why I say, clothing was the vice. But honey, I knew how to figure it out. I knew how to work that thing. But housing, honey, just give me a simple house. Transportation, I drove old cars. I purchased 2 cars cash because I didn't want a car payment. I wanted to travel. I wanted to have a lifestyle in my future. And food, a struggle in some ways, but you know, understanding, creating a budget around our food. People say, oh, you buy, I buy fruits and vegetables and things that can possibly cost more now, but in the future it's less because you will pay for that wellness later through some medication. So this is all about living below your means, thinking about what do you need? What do you need for the life that you're in now? And be truthful about it, okay? All right, the next one is awareness. I would say this, I kind of touched on it, but be honest. What do I need? What you know, we used to do, you know, the cost of living calculator. I used to love doing that with my students in personal finance. I taught that in school. And like, if you know you have a certain type of lifestyle and a certain way you want to live, then you need to really think about that. You need a job that can afford that. I mean, a school teacher salary would have definitely been okay for me, you know, for some years, because although it was not a lot, but I do believe in what we make and our habits. What's most important? Our habits. You can make $30,000 a year versus somebody making 60 or 100 or whatever. I was making 30. I say that's very low now, but that's what I was making as a school teacher. But I still could be in a position that I want to be in because I chose habits that were suitable to my lifestyle, to the things that I wanted and I desired. Okay. Awareness. This piece is look at the bank account, look at your debit card, look at your spending, look at your budget. Like, look. You know, we dust things and sweep things under the rug, not only in money but everything. Like, we gotta look in the mirror and look and see what I have. I said look, why, and don't buy. This is the strategy here, honey. Look, why, don't buy. Now, again, our goal is to get to the place you can buy whatever you want. But again, I'm talking mindset, because even when you have lots of money, I've seen the meme on it, but when you have that wealth that you want, you understand the truth is you don't need a lot in this thing. The abundance is really from within, and you'll spend money on the things. Again, we're on a space of higher self here. And this is not about things. This is all about abundance from within. But to get to the lifestyle, to get to the network, to get to the community, to get to the elite, the spaces that we want to be in with our family, even with our friends and the people that we love, it all starts in the mind, one habit at a time. So look at what you're spending. Why am I buying this? Don't buy. I'll go to my clothing on this. Literally, like, I would look, why are you buying this? You don't need this shirt this week. Me and my friends used to laugh, like, we would get our lunch money for the week in high school. I save all my lunch money. I eat some chips and a Snickers bar. Honey, at the end of the week, we were going shopping. That's just, I love clothes. And I think our culture, we love, honey. We know how to show up. And it's okay. Like, I've learned that it's not so much of pinch your pennies. It's so much of being honest about what do you desire in life and how do I get there? How do I get there? All right, so look at what you're buying. Why am I buying this? And sometimes you're just going to have to say, don't buy it. Not now, maybe later. Not no pay now, get later. Not all of those. I talked to a young woman, she was in debt. And I said, what you got in debt? Affirm. Have been traveling and been doing Affirm. And now Affirm is the new credit card debt. These new credit card debt. Do not get into these layaways as we used to have them back in the day. Went from layaway to credit card to now Affirm, and these online. They're all just new things to get us in debt. Don't do it. Debt is healthy, but do it. And for our last space, and that's what I'm going to talk about, is investing in yourself. You know, so 3, invest in yourself. Money is an investment. Now, again, people will talk about real estate. You can get into that. I'm not. Most people that have money have a piece of real estate. You know, there's different ways to get into investments, but I'm speaking to where I started. I'm speaking to my truth and how I want to help you, because most people are here. Just the truth. Most people are not part of the 1%. Most people are not in these positions. And so I want to speak true to where we are in real life and how we get to where we really want to go. And investing in self is so important. I share my story, how I invested in like Success Magazine early on, and I've invested so much in books. I talked about how I was in master's program and understood that that was not the next step for me. I've invested more in my personal development in the last 3 years than I ever have in my life, and it's probably the price of a master's program. And I don't say that in any way besides I know I wanted something different. I never known anyone to do it. You know, it's embarrassing sometimes to myself to think about that I did it, but then when I'm meeting people who's doing it also, I know that I found the community of where I'm trying to go. You can invest in yourself and you can invest in other people. Invest in yourself. And in my 20s, I started with a gym membership, Success Magazine subscription. I started buying books and reading and doing things that align with where I wanted to go. You know, plant the seeds and water them. And I say this with genuine love for you, because the places that we have been in, we don't have to stay there. We are not a product of our environment. We are a product of our choices. And I truly believe that. This is a space that's, you could almost cry talking about it, because we want to bring the Black Wall Street back. We want to bring back communities that are thriving and look at it. And it's not in competition with no one, no other culture, but I'm Black. And this is the reality of my community. This is the reality of you. No matter what color or ethnicity you are, the truth is, if you are Black, this is the reality of our life. We lack resources, we lack tools, but we no longer can have an excuse. We no longer can have an excuse. There's too much information out here. There's too many people who can give us the blueprint. There's too many people that can help, and it starts with just saying, I want more. So, invest in yourself, and this is giving to me. I think giving, I saw my dad, I came up around givers, and what I want to say about this, I really had to just like give, but put your oxygen mask on first. Give, fine, but if we're broke and we cannot even sustain our own lifestyle, we can't help our own family build and cultivate wealth and educate them on the value of the dollar, then we need to stop giving in that capacity and give to ourselves and invest in our own brain so that we can help our future generations. So when we're giving, whether it's through tithing, whatever it is, if we're not in spaces that we can actually, okay, let me calm down. Give self and others. I believe in giving, whether it's through time, whether it's through money. As a teacher, I was making $30,000 a year. I say that a lot because that was my truth for 8 years. I still gave. I would give tips. You know, I felt like, you know, money is a tool to get what I want. Somebody gave me good service, or I saw a young person working, I might give them an extra tip. There's ways to give in the universe and reap the rewards of what we sow. It doesn't have to be buy somebody a car, you don't have to do this big grandiose things. Giving is a space and an energy of your time, of your word is your bond, commitments. Investing in yourself looks like discipline. That's how I see it. It's discipline. Yes, it can be in the form of money, but there's so many different ways to give. So give to yourself, your family, and then you can give to others. Because when we have, as they say, you know, the overflow from the saucer, I don't know, Lisa Nichols, the first person I heard say that, I love it, but the overflow from the saucer, that's what other people get. And again, this is not knocking any choices that you make. I know some people give through tithes. I heard this guy recently say, I don't give through tithes, I give through, there's so many ways to give, and I'm like that too. Like, I used to give tithes, but now what do I give? Meet people, share things in other ways. So we can give, and most importantly, we can build wealth in our community. We can recycle the things that were naturally given to us by understanding the power of our mind, the power of our habits. So I just wanted to come through and share that with you. Money, you need to define it. Think about, be honest about your background. Think about what are the behaviors, the patterns that your parents had. It's okay. My parents, and just disclaimer, my mother, she did a hell of a job based on where she came from. She wanted more. She didn't have the education. She didn't have the tools. So her choosing the lifestyle her and my dad had, it was definitely an upgrade. I'm glad I was raised the way I was raised. But then when I look at the truth, like, okay, what can I infuse to give my life an upgrade, to give my kids an upgrade? That's what we do. Upgrade the future generations. Nobody should start from zero. All right? So let's do this thing called life. I appreciate you joining me. Like, subscribe, share. Let's continue to go on this journey within.